We're doing it. Da, 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 da. We need some music or something. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I think we are live. Yes. Hey everybody, it's Angie Atkinson. And you're
It's
here.
me, B-Rad. So,
Yes.
hey, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, the brand new show. We're still working out the kinks. So today we're going to do something a little different, as some of you may. Oh, I'm hearing myself talking. See? Live. Okay. So we are going to do a format like this. We're going to start out. Brad's going to talk to us about names of the show, which he'll explain to you where we got all of these names from. And hey, Madeline. Hey, Mavis. Then, as we go on, we're going to tell you 10 ways to know if you're an empath. And then we're going to open up for questions and conversation with you guys. Hello, everybody. So, Brad, tell us about the names.
Hey, everyone. So, it's B-Rad. So, what we did, if you were watching us last week on YouTube when Angie introduced the show, we asked everybody to list below in the comments what you thought a great name would be for our weekly empath show. So, I have it narrowed down to not one, not two, but three top names. So, our top names are E to E, which is empath to empath. Number two is the empowered empath. Number three is Empath Power Hour. So what we want you to do, so with those names, so in the comments below, you're going to vote. So number one is E to E, Empath to Empath. Number two is the Empowered Empath. And number three is the Empath Power Hour. So I'll leave that to you guys right in the feed, and back to you, Angie.
Okay. Right on. Okay. Hello, everybody. If I didn't type to you yet, let me tell you. Hey. Okay. All right. So we have come up with 10 qualities of an empath. And I think these are the things that are the very top 10, right? So Brad, do you want to start us off with number one?
I sure will. So, number one, I believe, which is something I have as well, empaths are usually highly sensitive, naturally giving, spiritually open, and good listeners. So, what's number two, Angie?
Number two is empaths are really attuned to the moods of others. They really feel the feelings of others. Can you relate to that?
I sure can. And number three, so you may be introverted, you can be overwhelmed in crowds. Even extroverted empaths will limit the amount of time they spend in crowds or at a party. I surely know that one.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yes. And I need an hour a day by myself, as a matter of
If
fact.
you can get an hour a day.
Right? I know. It's crazy. um, Today I spent my hour with Brad working on this, you guys. Anyway, um, so the other thing is that empaths are, what number are we on?
Yeah, so basically I think we're at number four.
Okay.
Yes.
Woo!
Woo!
Ah, let's see. We're still late. Okay. So empaths are highly intuitive and usually not as forgetful as I am today. When, well, I don't know about that. When they learn to listen to their gut feelings, their intuition, that thing inside of you that just knows, empaths will always find themselves in healthier relationships, and they avoid those energy vampires that we know as narcissists. More.
Exactly. And number five is what I always need. I need time alone. I
Mhm.
need to find ways to recharge after being drained in crowds or around difficult people. I know for me, every morning I go for a walk out in the forest for at least sometimes an hour, sometimes up to 4.5 hours, just to get rid of all that energy.
Yes, absolutely. And that includes the relationship with the intimate partner. And this is our next point, is that people, when you are in a relationship with an intimate partner, you don't necessarily want someone that wants to be joined at the hip, right? In a healthy relationship, you know that if you become too enmeshed, you can be losing your own identity, right? You can sort of lose who you are. So you still need that time alone, don't you?
Exactly. And I know what happens to us all. We tend to be targets. And this is our point number seven. We tend to be targets for energy vampires or narcs.
Yes.
Because we are hardwired to react with extreme emotion, they're dangerous to us because they destroy our self-esteem and even sometimes ourselves if we let them get too far.
Yeah, they love the fact that we will react to them when they come at us screaming or yelling or sad or angry. What is the first thing we do, Brad?
Yeah, we naturally, so if we're sad or angry, we react, we take on their emotions. We're highly sensitive to noise, to energy, to smells, to just everything.
Right, right. And and that's actually one of our next points. And the other thing that empaths tend to do is love to be in nature. I'm not going to lie to you. I really prefer to camp in a hotel, but I'll go outside all day long just to maybe sleep there, you know. But being in nature restores us, I think.
Exactly. And that's why I walk every day, which brings us to our last point, point 10. Empaths sometimes give more of themselves than they should. And because they feel other people's pain, sometimes they give too much. And this is the only thing that destroys us. And it's the only reason narcs love us so much. We will give everything until we are drained and we don't know how to take care of ourselves and prioritize ourselves. I know because we're so giving, we're so sensitive to the feelings of others. We also take on their pain for ourselves. And unfortunately, we put the narc first and leave ourselves to the end and ended up being depleted.
Yeah, it's true. And that's what it all comes down to. One of the things that we need to learn to do as empaths is to take care of ourselves and prioritize ourselves inside of all of that other stuff we have on our plates. If we're parents, we have to prioritize ourselves at least near our children, near the top of the list. I can't say that I would always prioritize myself or ever prioritize myself over my kids. However, I'm up there. How about you, Brad? What do
Yeah,
you think about that?
exactly. You know what I mean? I've been in narcissistic relationships. I've been in like relationships that really, for myself as an empath, I really feel the emotions of others. I really feel the feelings of others. And one thing that I found for me personally is where does the feeling that you're feeling and their feeling start and end? Because I know for me, a lot
Yes.
of times I'll take on other people's feelings, but if I'm not aware and use discernment, I can actually believe that those feelings are my feelings when they're not really, they're actually someone else's.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? While we're here, I have a question here from Melissa, who I think is asking an excellent question here. She says, how do you stop trying to save everyone and taking on their pain? Narcs are a distraction in life and it feels good to please people. Let me tell you something, girl. I'm just gonna pop in here and take this one because this is how you stop trying to save everyone. I'm not a good example of that. Um, but with that being said, it you do what you can, and you still prioritize yourself. You're not going to stop trying to save everyone, but you can stop trying to save people who don't want to be saved. And that's where you draw the line, I think. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, exactly. Because for me, that's one issue I had. And I had to look up actually online about the savior complex. So
Hmm.
basically, if you check that out, it's where, because we're so giving, we're so kind, and we're caretakers, and we want everybody to be happy, to be healthy, we want to serve others. We have this need that, we can save everyone. But one thing is, we can't save everyone. And that's okay because sometimes they need to be the ones that are receptive to the help. Sometimes you're trying to help people that don't even want help. And you're wasting your time, your energy on somebody who just doesn't care less and they're just draining you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Jasmine, yes, this video is going to be viewable later. Later, this one we're going to keep open. We're starting a new series right here on this channel. And when this video is finished, I will add a link to the top of it to Brad's other channel, his channel. So you guys can also check that out as well. Um, Brad, I'm so sorry. I keep calling him Brad. Brad, don't be
It's
sad.
okay. Be rad, Brad, whatever you guys want to call me. I'm just glad you're joining Angie and I here today. I hope you love the topic that we have chosen, which is empaths, because Angie and I are empaths, and we believe that all of you watching today are empaths. Just engage us, ask your questions, be involved. We love that you're here. We appreciate that you're here. And I just want to say thank you for coming online today. And I'll turn it back to you, Angie.
Yes. Okay. So Casey Forgets says, so should empaths learn to be selfish? And you know what? Up to a point. Only in so much as I don't want you to be selfish to the point that you don't care about other people. That's not you and that's not me and that's not okay. Um, but I think that we have to learn to be a little bit selfish. For example, like I said earlier, I need an hour a day to myself. And even though I did give BRAD my hour today, I still will get it later. I promise you that. Even if it means I have to stay up a little later to get it, it's okay with me, because I need that time. And it doesn't count if I'm working alone. It only counts if I'm not talking at the same time. And so sometimes I'll just write a lot of things during my hour alone. It doesn't matter. The point is, you need to learn to be what you might consider selfish, and that is prioritize your needs above the needs of people outside of you and your children up to a point. I mean, look, anybody who has kids can tell you, and I'm not saying that everybody has kids, but if you have kids, you don't always have a choice but to prioritize them above yourself up to a point, if you're a decent parent. But if you don't have kids, then I think that most of the time, the way that you can prioritize yourself above other people, it doesn't mean that you're better than other people. It just means that you're as important to yourself as other people are to you right now. What do you think about that, Brad?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a difference between selfish and selfless. But
Hmm.
what I believe in being selfish in this case, it's all about setting boundaries. So when you're telling no to someone else, you're actually saying yes to yourself. And there's times that you need to say yes to yourself because you're going to get drained, you're going to get emotionally depleted. But I found for me that was the biggest thing because
Yeah.
it's tough when you're setting boundaries, because you feel bad, but eventually those boundaries that you set are going to make a life that's much better for you.
Right, right, exactly. Faith Courtney says, I can't help but try to save people. I hope I can watch this later. I came in on the end. Faith, yes, you can watch it later. It will be on my channel in a new playlist and publicly listed. And um, can't help but try to save people. That's who we are, honey. That's who we are. That's what I'm doing here right now. That's what Brad's doing here right now. Brad
Mm-hmm.
is working with a lot of different things. He's working on, real quick, Brad, tell them a little bit more about that empowerment cruise we talked about. I think that's such a cool thing.
Hey, newsflash, surprise. So what we're doing is
Oh, sorry.
2018, but that's okay, Ange. It's okay. Let's get it out there.
Okay.
Let's get people interested. But what we're gonna do is basically it's an empowerment cruise that I'm planning for, I believe, November 2018, where we can get everyone together and we're going to empower you in all the areas of your life, especially people that deal with narcissism, sociopaths, psychopaths, just have been in life. They need help with business, with finances, with relationships, with friendships, with family, with so all the different areas of life we're going to cover. So it's going to be a safe place where people can come, they can learn, they can grow, they can be a community. So the days we sail are the days that the classes are on, and the days we're on land, hey, you can bring your family, you can have a little bit of vacation, you can hang out with some people. We'll have some group stuff planned, but I'll make sure that Angie knows all the details. So when we're ready to roll, we'll actually get a pre sign up sheet. So anybody that just has interest, you just go, you sign up with your email, and then we'll send you out when stuff is coming. So we're looking at 5 days in the Caribbean in November. So how does that sound?
That sounds freaking amazing. I want to do it.
I know I want to do it. Let's
I know.
go.
That sounds so fun. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. I'm into it. Okay. Anyway, I did not mean to make you a now. I didn't even think of it. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, but you guys heard it first. So you guys heard it first. And I hope while you're watching this too, you're putting down number 1, 2, or 3, just so we can get the name of the new show. So right now it's just that Empath show, but we need a name. So either E2E, which is number 1, the Empowered Path, the Empowered E. I can't even talk. Empath is number 2, and Empath Power Hour is number 3. So write 1, 2, or 3 just in the comments, and then we'll vote. And then the next episode will announce what the winning name is.
Okay, that is perfect. Yeah, I hope you guys are excited about that. So even if you're not watching live, guys, go ahead and enter below number 1, 2, or 3. All right, enter in the comments below. But if you are watching live, we are counting you too. All right. Next up. Let's see. Shannon O'Brien. Hey, girl. Hey. Melissa Gentile. It's what we've been taught. She says, wait a minute. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, we have so many good comments here.
Mm.
Melissa says, I'm 50 and I'm in the same boat. She says, wait a minute. Did I miss Stan Firm's comment? Hold on. Sorry. Empowered empath. Oh, we've got some great suggestions here. Mavis agrees. She feels overwhelmed around crowds too. Intuitive for sure, Melissa says. Let's see. We have a lot of votes for empowered empath. That's good stuff. Melissa says, I think I have an empath tattoo on my forehead. I feel
It's that mark. It's a sign. For some of us, how many, if write in the comments, how many think that you're an empath magnet, that you draw stuff to you?
Yeah, for sure. I think all empaths have that quality, don't they? I like to say we shine a very bright light and lots of people and things are attracted to it.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, we turn the darkness into light.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, let's see here. We have another for empowered empath. Stand Firm says, I am an empath. Well, you know what? Everybody has different qualities, different strengths, things like that. She says, Mavis says, we react to their behaviors, and that's the truth. Yes, absolutely. Mavis, Stand Firm says, I was deceived. We have a vote for E to E. Let's see here. Melissa, we answered that one. Okay. Yes, it's going to be viewable later. Stan Firm says, I'm 48, finally figuring out me and what I am. Yeah, it took me a while too. How about you, Brad? How long did it take before you realized that you were an empath?
Oh, I knew very early. I knew very early. I was gifted, that I always had this. I was always more sensitive, even as a kid, and especially even growing up as well. I found that just going through it, because a lot of times one quality I have, which we said in the last video, I'm like a human lie detector. So a lot of times when you're talking to people, you know when they're being truthful and when they're trying to deceive you. But the thing is, it's when your mind's telling you it's right, but they're telling you it's wrong, you get confused and you're like, am I going crazy? Is this real? But then when I found out after, it's everything that I felt empathically was correct. So now I learned to go more with my intuition and my gut and know that what I feel is real, that, you know, people out there will deceive you, or also maybe they're just telling you what they believe is their own truth, which maybe not the absolute truth, but just what they believe.
Yeah. I think in hindsight, I realized that I was aware of it forever, but I didn't know it was special. I thought everybody did it. And that's why people shocked me when they behaved so weirdly to, so rudely and disrespectfully to me at times. And I couldn't understand how it didn't hurt someone to hurt me, because it would hurt me to hurt someone else. And so, that was my mistake. I just, I always was like, oh, I wish I had some cool power or some cool talent. I thought everybody did that. I thought that was normal.
Exactly. I mean, growing up having it, and if you're young and you have it, you assume that everybody else is like that, or everybody's parents at home are like your parents. Everybody's life is like your life. And especially for me, embracing some of my gifts, being an empath is one of them. But that makes it tough when you're feeling, especially when it's the people that are closest to you. I find that's the toughest part, when someone that you care about is trying to deceive you, right? Or you're feeling what they're feeling and you're going through what they go through. And especially too, because you want to have that savior complex where you want to help them, but sometimes just being there, just listening, just supporting is enough. And that's enough doing, as opposed to actually having to physically do something.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Lightworker 621 says, my life is imploding. Unmasked my narcissist of 30 years. I'm trying to escape. Yikes. It is scary, but I want you to not look at it like it's imploding. I want you to look at it like, okay, now I can create the life for myself that I really deserve. Because my guess is, you've been abused, and on a mental, emotional level. And my guess is that this could be the beginning of something beautiful if you allow it to be, and if you choose to perceive it that way. Thoughts, Brad?
Exactly. And when you've been shattered into a million pieces like I have, you don't take it as something bad, because what you can do is now, when you become nothing, everything comes out of nothing, and you can create whoever you want to be who you want to be, take the lessons from this, actually thank them for doing this to you. So if you take it as a gift, take the lesson, make yourself stronger, better, and then take your stories and just empower others with it. And that'll help build up your own self-esteem and self-worth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see here. Colleen says, and thank you, Jasmine, by the way. Colleen says, setting healthy boundaries is not selfish. Exactly. That's right. She said, hold on, I got to do it. I got to roll up again. Oh, she says, I have had to learn this myself and still am. Yeah, that's right. I remember, girl. She says, if we don't take care of us, we cannot take care of others. Self-love, baby. That's right.
Exactly. And that's exactly right. And that's why I say boundaries. And for me, that was one of the biggest learning lessons, was to set boundaries, because you always want to step in, you always want to help, but then you're also so depleted after. And it's say, as an empath, for us being around crowds, being around people. And that's why for me, I have to be in nature every morning. I make it a priority for me as much as I can. Go in nature, because as soon as I'm in with the trees and the paths and the squirrels and the raccoons and the chipmunks and just the water and everything like that, it just helps me release everything, because I find for me it builds, and I have to have some way to release it. And I find with being in nature or meditation, solitude, if you can't get to nature, is a great way. Or for me, it's the gym in the winter when I can't go out and walk, except like our weather here now is probably around 90 degrees. In
Wow.
Canada,
Canada.
yes.
Yeah. I think it's a little chillier than that here today, but
Yeah.
still comfortable. I can't complain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. We have now this is interesting because I bet you can relate to this as well. So can I. Sorry. Stand Firm says, all of my life I was a stand-up therapist, a stand-in therapist, except to myself. And that literally was me as well. People were always, and still people are always like, hey, what do you think about this? Can you help me with that? But here's the thing. Now I do offer myself that gift. That's how I got to where I am at this moment, because at some point when you can, and the best way to help yourself in this way is to ask yourself this question. If I were talking to someone else, my child, someone you love, my child, my friend's child, my sister, whatever, if I were talking to that person, how would I answer my question? What advice would I give that person if this were happening to them? You know, so if somebody kicks you in the street and your first instinct is to say thank you, ask yourself, what would you do if your child was kicked in the street, and act accordingly without getting yourself thrown in jail.
Exactly. And for me, I get the same thing, because what I do, I am actually a hairstylist. I work in my own salon behind the chair, and I'm one on one with everybody. So, of course, when you're one on one, you get everybody's stuff. It always comes on you. Like I said, being a magnet, you have people that will naturally, they may not even know you, but they'll tell you their life story. They'll tell you everything that's going on. People will just naturally dump on you when they wouldn't like tell anyone else. But for some reason, you exude this kind of receptive personality that makes it okay for them just to release everything that's going on inside with them.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll do it to you in public when they're strangers. Happens to me. But and I'm not talking about on YouTube. I'm talking about in real life. You know what I'm saying? People who don't know me in real life sometimes do the same. They see me in a store and they're like, hey, let me tell you something. It's weird. Anyway, okay. Maybe they do know me. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Melissa says, oh, wait a minute. Lightworker 621 says, Mavis, me too. She also has felt just like that. And she said, for everyone, and got obliterated by narcissists, just like we did. Melissa Gentile says, it is hard when you hang your self-worth on serving others, which is true. But here's the thing. At some point, you have to help others anyway, and then still validate yourself. If I couldn't personally self-validate, I would probably have already hit the bottom by now, because the fact of the matter is I get a lot of criticism from some people on YouTube, and that's fine. I can handle it. But if I didn't have the ability to self-validate, I would be very sad every day. And I certainly would not be able to be here serving all of you amazing people as often as I am. And so you guys and my own self-value make it possible and worth it to me. I guess my self-value makes it possible and you guys make it worth it. Anyway, Brad, what do you think about that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think servitude and serving others is very important.
Mhm.
I think humility is very important in being humble. But I also believe that, um, say, once you have boundaries and once you, um, I have to see where I'm going with this again. So basically, can you repeat the question, Angie? Sorry, my brain is getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, no, I know it
But
happens to me too. You get a little distracted.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really, I think basically, you don't want to hang your self-worth on serving others, but you still want to be able to serve others in a healthy way. Sometimes you need to take a step back though, right? And you have to give yourself that moment of like, I'm just going to take a break from everything for a
Mhm.
minute. And if you don't do that, you end up perpetually frozen. So, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Your self-worth, because if you're working in this approval mode where you need approval to have your self-worth, and the thing is the better you get, the stronger you get, the higher you go, especially for me being in business and the titles I have,
Mhm.
people start to get jealous of you or
Yeah.
your abilities, and then they're going to attack you. They're going to try to bring you down. Or if you're going up and people are in the same place that you were, but they're not going anywhere and you're getting yourself ahead or more successful, they're going to want to try to bring you down or bring your self-worth down, because then that makes them accountable. So then they have to, take responsibility for themselves,
Yeah.
just like you are. I mean, but that's the thing. Know your own worth. You don't need to get validation from anybody else. That's where self-love comes in.
Mhm.
Self-care, self-love, in a good, kind, and loving way for yourself. And it's not selfish to love yourself. You
That's right.
need that, because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of anyone else?
And even if you want to look at it from the perspective of if you don't love yourself enough, then love other people enough to do it. Because if you have kids to take care of or pets or friends or whatever, you aren't going to function as well if you're not taking care of yourself. You might not be around as long if you're not taking care of yourself. And there's no reason for you to live in misery. And you choose to do that if you want to do that, but you can also choose not to do that. And I do understand that some people are stuck with narcissists. But even if you're stuck in that boat at this moment, my friend, unless you're being physically abused, in which case you have an emergency, get the hell out of their situation. If you're not being physically abused, you work around stuff as much as you can until you can get out. You can change your perception, your perspective from the place that you are now. And that will help you become stronger. If all you can do right now is try to work on changing your attitude, you are still taking one step toward your freedom, even if it's a tiny one. It's bigger in the grand scheme of things. Your ability to perceive things differently can change your whole world. My personal opinion and experience. Brad?
Exactly. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's a big thing, because a lot of us, and a lot of it's your mindset, and
Yeah.
that's the hugest thing. Because what's between your two ears determines whether you live in hell or whether you live in heaven, right?
Yeah.
You can always make a situation better by how you think about it, and you take the gifts from it, take the lessons from it.
Hmm.
But basically, your thoughts are powerful. So
Yeah.
we're all manifestors, we're all creators. So basically, whatever is in your mind, you can actually create. So if you say XYZ is going to happen to me, positive or negative, you're going to draw that situation, that person, that experience to you, because the universe will say, okay, this is what they want. I'm going to give it to them. So if you're of a low vibration, you're going to draw low vibration people to you, situations to you, money troubles, car problems, everything else. If you're in high vibration, even when everything is crappy, you have to learn how to be that calm while the storm is going on around you. And that way, nothing can bother you. And
Hmm.
always keep a positive mindset, but always be aware, and don't allow people to do things to you. And as soon as you know that there's something that may be out of whack, seek some counseling, find a way, read some books, watch some YouTube videos, anything to kind of get you from that low state into a high state.
Yep, absolutely. And light worker, you're right. Detaching from them emotionally is is important if you're going to find happy at all in that mess. You're absolutely right. And that's exactly what I did. And I think what a lot of us do until we can get out. And the only warning I would give you here is be very careful that when you do get out, you reattach yourself to yourself, or that you don't emotionally detach from yourself. You have to emotionally detach from that person. You see where I'm at?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And one thing that I have to mention is it's basically cord cutting. And I
mm,
believe, Angie, do you have a video on that?
I do.
About, yeah. So
Mhm.
that's one amazing thing that you really need to do.
Yeah.
And that's something I had to do, is to cut that cord of the emotional attachment
Mhm.
to those people in your life.
That's right.
Even if it's friends, it's family, it's, your significant other, doesn't matter. So check it out. Angie can probably put a link below this video so you
Mhm.
can check it out later, or just look it up through her channel and
Yep.
just find it on cord cutting. And I think it'll really help a lot.
I think it's really helpful as well. And Miranda says, I had a narc tell me I was selfish for doing homework in college. Yeah, typical, because the selfish of that was that you were doing something that was good for your future and that wasn't all about the narcissist.
Yeah,
You're
of
not
course, because
selfish.
they want to monopolize your time. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? That's what happened to me. They wanted my time every second, but they also don't want you to get ahead. They want you to become dependent on them.
They certainly do. It's about control for sure. Yeah. Let's see here. Try and Stop Me Mate says, and this is absolutely the truth, self-validation takes practice. When I decided to stop giving a crap about the opinions that do not serve me, my natural energy increased. That same thing happened to me. It is legitimate.
Mm.
It is true. Thank you for such an excellent point. Try and Stop Me Mate. What do you think about that, Brad?
Yeah, it's basically, and that's what it is. A lot of people think, oh, it's going to happen overnight, or they see somebody else and they think, well, they did it. It must be easy for them. But get
Mhm.
the tools, get the resources. And one other thing, and I know I keep mentioning Angie here, but if she has teachable.com, there's some great journals on there. There's some great classes on there. There's some great, because I signed up, I'm in there, I've done the programs, but she has some amazing tools, some PDFs, some videos that you can utilize to help empower yourself.
Well, thanks, Brad. He's totally right. And a lot of that stuff is free, guys. So check that out. And it's at, well, you can go to lifemakeover.org and get to it. There's a little button at the top. It's the best way to go. Okay. And Try and Stop Me Mate has a good point. It says, I used to think the law of attraction was BS, but it's really about acting in alignment to your thoughts. Don't be skeptical to anyone who doubts it until you've tried it. That's the truth. I thought a lot of things were BS, but I'll tell you, I am walking, living, breathing proof that it works whether you want to use it or not. It is working right now in your life. So choose how you want it to go and make intentional choices.
Exactly. And that goes what I said before, your thoughts become things,
Mhm.
right? And that's exactly it, whether you want it, whether you don't. An example of law of attraction is this show here happening today,
Mhm.
right? Exactly that.
Yep.
Both of us had the same mindset. We both were on the same vibration. We created something out of nothing.
Mhm.
And so it's a perfect example of law of attraction right here
Yep.
that you're watching right now.
That's right. Yep. Tracy Elizabeth Chavot, hello, says, my narcissist lives in the cottage behind my house. Any tips on how to handle any interactions with them? Um, I would avoid him as much as possible. When you do see him behave as though he is nothing to you, like he's just like this, watch, here you go, watch. That's very interesting. If they say anything dramatic to you, this is how you respond. Very interesting. Anything. If they say, you are stupid and you have an ugly nose, you go, very interesting. You don't give them the satisfaction of having any of your emotion. You don't speak to them about anything except business, unless you have children with them, and then you speak to them about children. In this case, I assume they're renting from you, so hopefully you can wrap that up pretty soon. Maybe start the eviction process if you haven't already. Are you being abused by this person, Tracy? But that's what I would say. Gray Rock. Look up Gray Rock on my channel, and avoid as much as you can. Thank you, Malta, for putting the Teachable link in, the Life Makeover Academy link. Um, yeah. Okay. Lightworker says, my narcissist has sabotaged my artwork. And I have had that happen to me. I had a narcissist destroy a lot of my work on different things. And it is horrible. And I'm sorry that that happened to you. But I will tell you that they do it out of jealousy and out of mostly probably you're a very good artist and the narcissist is jealous that people complimented you on it or that you have a skill that he or she does not. So Melissa Gentile says, narcissist took so much of my time. I became his personal assistant in so many ways. I'm an educated professional. I'm busy. I did everything. He took it away. He's falling apart, but it took it to hurt me. Yeah, that is exactly, absolutely what they do. They try to take everything from you and turn you into their personal assistants many times. That's very common. Yes. Doreen B says, yes, I seem to draw on way too much negative energy. Where did it go? Wanting to learn how to not do that. A problem since childhood. My narcopath had a very hard time believing that. I can tell when people are like, yeah, most of them do have a hard time believing anything like that, but I can tell it too. I can see it just by the way they hold their mouth. You can see a lot of things by a person's mouth. I know I've told you guys that before, but it's true. Okay. All right. Brad, we are going to have to wrap up. We are a little bit over time, but everybody, I want to say hello to Kareen, Tracy, Try and Stop Me Mate. Everybody, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Oh, and Malta has, oh, thank you, Malta. Malta has put the gray rock technique into the chat for us. So you guys have a link to that. Thank you guys very much. Thank you for everything today. Brad, any final words for our audience today before we wrap up?
Yes, thank you everyone for joining Angie and myself, B-Rad, Celebrity Hairstylist here. So make sure you like this video, you subscribe, and actually if you do us a big, huge favor and share this video on all your social media so we can see you and everyone back next Wednesday.
Yes, indeed. And from me, as always, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your life. And today, B-Rad, be a part of your life and my life. And thanks for letting us be a part of yours. That was all confusing. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day. B-Rad. I'm so sorry I called you Brad through the whole thing, but thank you again for being here. You're awesome. And I love you. So excited to have everybody. Thanks so much. All right. Well, bye.
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 Mwah, mwah, mwah. See you guys next week.
See you guys next week. Bye-bye. All right. Now I'm closing it down.